I know we've been talking about making this Christmas cake ever since we found out that Suzanne was doing one last year, that it take actually the one you did last year was like a year-long process, right?
Well, and that was a Christmas pudding.
Oh, okay.
So this is a little bit different, but similar.
And now you said it takes a long time, like, you know, a couple months of feeding it. Now, what would happen technically if you ate it right away?
Oh, you totally can eat it right away. You don't have to wait. So, but it's traditional, I guess. Well, somewhat traditional. Just kind of let it sit there and you know, soak in its own juices. And it's fun to make, and it's something to get excited about every year.
Now, did you say this was your you know, your mother's recipe or passed down?
Yeah, this is a combination. It's a combination of my mother's recipe, which is from the 1962 book, and also Mary Berry, a British cook in, you know, what show was she in? The Great British Bake Off.
Okay.
And so, and I noticed that they're very, very similar. So I'm taking the best of both and putting them together.
And I know I've had a similar cake like this when I was down in the Caribbean. You could buy like they just called it spice cake, but it was like cake with dried fruits in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think here we're going a little overboard with the dried fruits.
Oh yeah, we totally are. And it's not like, well, okay, it's similar to the American fruit cake, but it's more fruit than cake. So, which is nice. I like that. I prefer the fruit.
So, all right. Now let's see. What did I have a hard time getting? Oh, blanched almonds. I just had almonds with the skin still on it. But
That's
I mean, I suppose you could do other nuts too. I mean, I've got hazelnuts, I've got pecans, I've got cashews. But
I think you could, but there's something about the almonds and the flavor that imparts, and or just the texture primarily, you know, mixed with the dried fruit. I've always seen it with almonds.
Well, you could always try. Almonds are easy to be done. You know, you can do it yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna be showing everyone how to blanch almonds.
Okay.
All right. And then all the fruit soaked in brandy for a few days. So
yeah, I take a lot of liberty with this. I love currants, so I made sure that I had some dried currants. I got some golden raisins, but I only got those a couple days ago. I made my own glacé cherries, these little guys, and then I also tossed in a bunch of what's that called, dried apricots, and I did have some dried cherries also. I'm sure they're in here somewhere. I keep eating them though. Here's one right here, which I'm going to eat. And I put in a mixture of zest from lemons, limes, and oranges, because that's what I had.
Is there any dried fruit that you have used that you thought I shouldn't have used that?
Well, no, all of these I think really work well together. The flavor profile does. I probably would not put dates in here. You know, I think they're too mellow for it.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what other dried fruits are there.
Dried blueberries.
Yeah, I think that it might be overpowered also.
Yeah. So you're trying to pick ones that individually aren't super overpowering, and then it soaks up the brandy.
Yep.
So I did rummage through all my dried fruits, and I came across both just dried and crystallized ginger, and I put probably about 2 ounces in, so not a lot compared to all the rest of it. Just so every once in a while there's going to be this hot, spicy bite of ginger, because ginger is in the mixed,
Ooh, I
the dry
love
mix.
ginger.
That's a great idea. I might have some.
Now, because I thought of this the last second, in the process of trying to look for my mace to make the dry mix, I came across my box of dried fruit, which I had forgotten, which would have been nice to have when I started the whole process. At the time, I realized when I was making the candied cherries, which I did from scratch, from the maraschino cherries, and realized one jar was not enough for the recipe. I also had, like you have, tart cherries. So I threw those dried tart cherries in the quantity that I was lacking for the red.
That's what I did.
The maraschino cherries are so pretty. They add such a nice color.
Yes.
So next time I'll make sure I have enough.
I'm hunting for my other things here.
I'm looking for my,
Are you looking for your ginger also?
yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So what I did was I chopped both some of the crystallized, sugared ginger and the just dried ginger. And I just covered it in brandy all by its lonesome to get, hopefully like the overnight soak would get it caught up.
I got dried ginger, but
The powder.
no, I mean like actual root.
Let me tell you about ginger. Ginger will overpower this whole thing. I put it in my rum pot where I put all dried fruits in it.
Yeah.
And it overpowers it totally.
Ooh, you
That's
need to
why
teach
I
us how
only
to
put
make
a
rum pot, huh?
Yeah.
That's why I only put a real small amount in comparison to the rest of the fruit. There's like I said, it's about maybe 2 ounces compared to, 18 ounces of currants and 12 ounces of raisins and 12 ounces of golden, you know what I mean? So it's really a tiny amount. So hopefully every once in a while you get a bite of it.
A zing in your,
Yeah.
punch in your mouth. Yeah, ginger is a little overpowering.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
I made some stem ginger, which is kind of crystallized ginger. It's a ginger in a syrup. And of course, now that I'm looking for it, I can't find it.
Yeah.
Oh, well. It's somewhere in my cupboard and it's probably like pushed to the very back.
yeah, I've got jars and jars of stuff, but I actually don't have cabinets on that, doors on my kitchen, so I can look around and 90% of the time I can find something right away.
Yeah. All right. And there's another thing that my mom used and she would buy it online, and that is angelica. It was like candied angelica, which is a plant that we can grow here, and they take the stem and they, just sugar it, put it in a sugar syrup. But I did not buy it.
Will you plant that for next year's cake? Please?
I tried
Oh,
to
you
plant
did?
it this year and I killed it, but I think it's the drought. It just doesn't like the drought.
Yeah, I did
So-
a whole bunch of research on that angelica and went all over the place to try to find it. But even in Wikipedia, it says it's rare and it's primarily grown in Lapland, only in the
Really?
northern hemisphere. Yeah, it was such a fascinating. And I may have J International. I talked to the guy who does ordering for them.
Mhm.
And he took
The
pictures of
international
the
stuff, yeah.
Wikipedia page. So I'm kind of excited. And even if we could just find the fresh stem, I know how to candy fruit now.
Right.
So what did you think of doing the cherries, Lulu, like canning them from scratch?
First off, the reading I did that they said it was much tastier to make your own than buy the pre-made candied cherries. The thing that the YouTube video said only had to boil for like 10 minutes. Well, another one said I had to bring it up to 235 degrees with a candy thermometer, which did not take 10 minutes, but took closer to 50 minutes, which I'm glad I did, because and then more studies about candying fruit, because people do it with whole pieces of fruits. It's such a fascinating thing. But some of the process is really slow going. And that's why it's like a slow simmer for a real long time. and the cherries actually get translucent. So it was fun. I had patience. I did not go out salsa dancing because I felt so inclined to do this.
But, did you blanch your almonds already? Because Suzanne was going to teach us how to do that.
Okay, I had sliver almonds, which I don't know if they're blanched. They're raw slivered almonds. So I was just gonna.
Basically, if it doesn't have the skin on.
Yeah,
Is that what it is? Blanching is just removing the skin.
that's what we think. I have to show you something. A friend of mine just dropped this off in my front door. A restaurant of ours called Khyber Pass was super yummy, and they just closed their doors yesterday. This is a walnut cilantro sauce.
Ooh,
Isn't that yummy?
that looks great.
Oh my God, it's so exciting that he picked that up for me. Yay, I've got good friends.
It's like everybody needs those kind of friends.
So, all right. So the first thing we're gonna do, are we all ready? Hi, you can see my face. Hello. So the first thing we're gonna do is take our pan and we're gonna grease and put parchment paper in it. And so
So I need to ask you a question about the pan real quick. I could not find for the life of me any kind of tall cake pan. Can I use a springform pan?
yeah, yep. You
Okay.
totally can. I'm using, my pan is one of the false bottom pans.
Oh,
But yeah, you can use a springform.
so we're greasing it and then I'm not sure the size. I went to my son-in-law's and borrowed 3, and they're one's, small, medium, and large.
Yeah, mine is an 8.5 inch pan, and it is about 3 inches deep.
So is it better to do the like you have or the ones with the hole in the center? Like,
I think my mom used to use just a regular pan.
okay.
I don't, so you can do it absolutely with a regular pan, because we're going to put parchment paper not only in the bottom, but we're also going to put it up the sides.
So you could just do a regular 9x12 baking pan? Or does it have to be?
Are you thinking a square pan
Yeah.
or a round pan? Typically it's done in a round pan, but I say, you know what, use whatever you can.
I tend to use these kind of pans with the hole in the center because I get more crispies.
Mm-hmm.
I really like for my rum cakes.
And let's see. So,
Go for it.
the challenge is if you are using a pan that is going to be shorter and a little bit wider, then it's going to cook faster. So just kind of keep an eye on it and test it earlier. So this will wind up cooking for about 4 hours. So, but you're going to start checking it after 2 hours, just in case, because you don't want to burn it. So, and
You always, again, do you always prefer the round one or just like the regular 9x12 cooking?
for this cake, I prefer a round one. And this is when, and a nice way, I learned this not too long ago, how to make your, now watch, we're gonna see if I can actually do this. Oh shoot, was it this way? Well, we'll see, I might fail miserably. Is you take it and you just fold and keep folding this. And then fold it again on the point. And then fold it again.
Man, I've got 7 rum cake pans. Bunch pans.
And then I take it to the center. And I always go a little bit wider. If I just had a regular pan that had a full bottom on it, I would just flip the pan outside, take it to the center, the approximate center, and then just cut this off. Now we're gonna see if it is anywhere close to where it should be. I can fail spectacularly.
Wow, that's very cool.
I went a little conservative on it, but that's okay.
That's very cool.
So that's not bad. The problem is you have this extra stuff. It's like, no, don't want extra stuff to figure out what to do with.
I bought parchment paper and sheets that fit oven pan, those little oven pans. It really works great because you just,
Those are really cool.
you just unfold it and it fits perfectly in the
Yeah. Now it says it's a double layer of grease-proof paper, and now, if I remember correctly, it was also on the sides. So, this came off a while ago. So I have to do one more of these, and then we'll attack the side.
I think this is the mistake I've always made with making the rum cake is not putting this paper. And then it sticks way too much to the pan and then it falls apart when I'm pulling it out.
Oh, yep. Oh, hey, while we're thinking about it, let's turn our ovens up to 275.
Oh, good point. I almost always forget that.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up blanching almonds and it's all about removing the skins.
Oh, it is. Oh, good. Thanks. I was assuming and wanted to make sure that I didn't assume incorrectly.
Suzanne, are you doing two or are you double thicknessing the?
Double thicknessing.
It must be an old pastry chef trick.
Yeah, I don't know. I found it somewhere online. So, I think the second one turned out better.
You bake a lot, yeah.
That's right. And now I just have to get the other parts.
Why do you think do two of them?
Yeah, because it says for a double thickness. Now this is where I'm gonna not make enough. You know what? I know 3 inches, right? 3 inches, 3, 6, 9, 12. 12. Precision
You
measuring.
need to figure out how you did that nice folding trick. I was just like,
Was that kind of fun? I think I saw that on a YouTube video.
make it look really easy.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the longest part.
Really?
And we gotta do around the edge as well, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
How do you make it stay up on the edges?
Well, we're gonna grease it first before we put it on.
Oh, okay. That'll make it stay.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be perfect, remember. I usually have little bits flying about all over the place.
Okay, I looked up the YouTube thing for the parchment and I put it in the chat.
Oh, thanks. So now I'm just spreading some grease, whatever you want to use. I'm using Crisco. On the inside of the pan. And the Crisco or the grease helps to hold the parchment paper in place before you put the mixture in. And any bits that stick, it should come off a little easier. Because even though you're putting parchment paper in, it's not going, you know, some of the batter still will hit the pan.
Are you putting it on both sides or just the side on the pan side?
For the grease?
Yeah.
I'm putting on the bottom and the sides.
I mean, of the paper. Side that's on the pan side.
I just put it on the pan.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. And mine never stays just right, but this is pretty darn close. Well, it's probably the best one I've done ever. Oh, sweet. Okay, everyone, you've just witnessed my best ever parchment papering of a Christmas cake pan.
There you go.
Yay.
I'm not gonna act like that's how you always do it.
Right. I know I should just say, oh yeah, this is always how I do it, but no.
I think that's what I love about our group the most is we are quite honest about our mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
That
You guys,
an absolute mess.
it doesn't have to be pretty. I'm gonna have to move my camera for a second here. So I can do this. Got it. Okay, I'm looking at other people's things. Nope, I'm looking only at mine.
I feel like I'm gluing the paper to the walls.
How's it coming, Lulu?
I can't find my Crisco.
Oh, no.
Do you have some just regular oil?
Yeah, you could probably use just regular oil or coconut oil.
You just need something to stick it just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
You want it to stick now, but not stick later.
Mhm.
I suppose, I mean, you got butter, you could use a little butter.
Yep.
But
Okay, so should I move on to the next step, the blanching of the almonds?
yeah, Lulu already has hers done, so.
Yeah, I'll just start talking to it. So how we're going to blanch our almonds is the recipe calls for 3 ounces or 75 grams of blanched almonds chopped. I don't have blanched almonds. Mine are with the skins. So what we do is we take some boiling water. We're going to put boiling water on top of this. soak it for only a minute. You don't want to soak it any more than a minute, or you're going to lose the crunchiness, the crispness of the almonds. And so that's why I've got this, so I can sieve it out. And so I've got my hot water cooker going right now. It should be ready in a minute.
Now, is your almonds
Mhm.
roasted or raw?
They're raw.
That's mine too. So
So,
most people find roasted ones. So maybe it's. Go ahead,
so
Lulu.
eventually we're gonna be making marzipan, correct?
Yeah, but that's a couple weeks before.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I need to watch this because I'm gonna make the marzipan from my raw skin, almonds that have skins.
Yep.
Yeah, Lulu, tell me what you said about almonds, about pasteurized them.
Oh, almonds are the only nuts that have to be pasteurized. Because the way they harvest nuts is they knock them off the tree and they lay around for a couple of weeks drying on the ground. At which point wild boar, pigs, birds, squirrels, and everybody else are walking all over it and introducing things like salmonella and all that. And so there's a couple of methods of pasteurization, and pasteurization for a nut and other things similar is just bringing it to a high temperature for a short amount of time. So the nut's not getting cooked. The best way they said was a steam pasteurization, where a whole bunch of steam gets put into the chamber with the nuts, and the nuts get shaken. So all surfaces, get this blast of steam, which doesn't kill every single thing, but it kills the stuff that'll make you sick. And so I thought that was fascinating because, and I think California is required by law to pasteurize their nuts. So if you get your almonds from other parts of the world, they may not be pasteurized. So,
Interesting.
yeah, I thought that was pretty fascinating.
That is really cool.
I love the internet for this purpose.
I'm just going through my recipe because I remember reading a recipe where it said on the outside of the container of the pan, to wrap it with newspaper. And I think it evens out the temperature so it doesn't heat up the outside. And I'm just reading through my recipes and I don't see it. Huh.
Guess it matters what your temperature of your oven is.
Probably does. Yeah, that's weird.
I could see doing that if you had the old wood-fired ovens, had a harder time having a consistent temperature.
Yeah. Wow, that's so funny.
So you said the boiling water just for like a minute.
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, you're right. It says that the newspaper stops the sides of the tin getting too hot and burning the cake.
So I just poured my
Quick
hot water.
question.
Yep.
After I have the first sheet of parchment paper, and now I gotta grease what's in there and then put the second layer?
I just greased the pan only, and then I put the layer of parchment, both layers in.
Oh.
For the sides, what I did is I put a 6-inch piece and then I folded it over so it was 3 inches. That's why it looks so even.
Yep, I had to grease the second layer of paper to make it stick to the side.
Oh yeah, I've done that before. That's no problem.
All right. So
I'm just waiting for however much time is less than a minute now. So you can see what it looks like. They're just floating in there and the water's changing a little bit.
But it doesn't seem like the skin is coming off.
you have to pinch them. So I'll show it to you. We'll see if one of them's ready. There you go. It's the
What?
funnest thing ever.
Mine didn't do that.
Just put it in here. All right. So now I think it's been about a minute. I'm gonna empty it out. And so yeah, so you just take the almonds and between your fingers, you just pinch it and it comes right off.
Cool.
It's super easy.
Yeah, mine's not doing that.
Well, and I wonder if it's because yours are roasted.
No, mine are raw,
Oh, they are raw?
I
but
wonder if maybe they're too old.
Well, sometimes like
maybe I
this
didn't
one,
get the water hot enough. Like
it's got to be boiling.
it was simmering, so
Okay.
maybe I didn't get it boiling hot. Because yeah, I mean, for
But-
me to do it, I have to like peel it.
Well, and every once in a while, you'll get one that's a little like this one is a little tough. So you can imagine doing this when you're making the marzipan. It takes a little while. Oh, and sometimes you can take it, instead of just pinching it, if you just take it and roll it like this, then it loosens it up. So the whole thing is loose right now. And you can see the skin's kind of rotating around, and then the almond
Cool.
just comes out.
I wonder if you could put it in one of those garlic skinner things, you know, the little rubber things. Have you seen those?
Oh yeah, like the little silicone tubes.
Yep.
Yep. It would probably be easier than this, or if you have a large family, all the children can take some and do it. I can get my next door neighbor kids to do it.
Do you have trick or treaters, Suzanne?
I just called my neighbors and said, hey, are you guys gonna come over? And so they did. I gave them there are two kids that are 3 and 1. So I gave them both a candy bar, a full-size candy bar, and an apple and a carrot. And the little girl looks up to me and says, carrots are my favorite.
That's so cute.
Yep. And because I live on a busy street, so I wound up going to a friend's house and sitting outside in front of a campfire giving away candy. So how about you guys? Did you have any trick-or-treaters?
We don't have any in our community because it's 55 plus, so there's no kids living here.
Oh shit, I just shot that one across the room. How about you, Lulu? Did you have any?
I did not. I'm trying
Mhm.
to think, where was I for Halloween? I think I was at my daughter's and then I went home. And my
Mhm.
daughter, kept her light off and didn't have any candy. I was like, what? You have no candies? She says, we didn't get any last year. I'm not buying candy this year. And nobody came to her house and nobody came to mine. But there's not a lot of children. They drive places, like really
The
cool.
new style is they do the trunk or treat, so they can just go to one place and get a whole bunch in a short amount of time.
And
Yeah.
there's also neighborhoods that are just decked out. So people drive to the neighborhoods, drop their kids off, and
Mhm. Yep. I used to live in a neighborhood like that.
So I just had to wait like another extra minute, and now they're just popping right off. Like I shot one across the room just like you.
Nice. You'll find him in a couple weeks. So
But yeah, I mean, I can just squeeze it and it just comes right off.
mhm.
Oh, speaking of shooting food across the room, I have a cute story about Riley to tell you. My daughter was making something with raw garlic and she knew a little piece flew off her work surface and she tried to find it but couldn't. And about a day later, little Riley just lets out this blood-curdling scream. And as she's screaming, Nikki looks in her mouth and there's that piece of garlic she had found and stuck in her mouth. And I said, well, she'll get over that one, you know, because the rest of the family adores garlic. But I mean, a raw garlic is pretty hot.
Right, right.
He's what, like 1 year old?
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right. Got another one. Why do you think we have to take the skin off? I noticed that's a common practice on a lot of stuff. Takes the skin off vegetables, take it off fruit.
Sometimes with almonds, it can be a little bitter. That's what I've been told. So normally, I mean, with things like what are they called? You know, potatoes, I leave the skins on because I usually get mine from, you know, organic happy potatoes. You know.
Yeah, and a lot of nutrition in the skin of a potato.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom always said that. She was always just like, don't take the skins off. That's where all the nutrition is.
My mom used to, I don't know if I mentioned this, but she would make potatoes, mashed potatoes that were whiter than white. And I think it's because she grew up with, you know, using the skins, using everything, because after World War II, you know, they had rationing up until the 60s, you know, and so they just didn't have a lot of food. So you ate everything. And so when she came here, it's like, oh my God, there's stuff everywhere. I can remove the skins.
Isn't there a toxin in the skins?
I don't know.
Because I had heard back during in Ireland when, you know, the peasants were cooking for the rich people and they'd skin the potatoes and they'd take the skins home because they were so short of food. And straight skins, a diet of straight potato skins kind of did them in, from what I heard.
Well, the tops of the potato greens are toxic, I think.
Yeah, if you see a green spot on a potato, that's the poison part. So it's like,
And that's the part that's been exposed to the sunlight when growing.
right, it's basically starting to grow. And that's like, and I don't know how poison it is, but I do know that it makes people sick.
Well, they are part of the nightshade family.
Yeah. So so the next part of the recipe is measuring the butter, the sugar, and the eggs. So my butter is at room temperature, but because it's cooler out, it's still, I mean, it's somewhat pliable. Maybe it's all right. Yeah, I think it's okay. I'm wishing it.
I just bought mine, so mine's still cold. So
Yeah. So you could just kind of toss it in the microwave for a short while. Because you want it softened, but you never know how softened. I think this should be fine. So you want 9 ounces. So that's 2 sticks plus a tablespoon, or plus oh bloody hell, 2 tablespoons, right? I gotta measure it. It's easier for me to weigh it rather than thinking. And this, by the way, is like the best scale ever.
I love my digital scale.
Oh, they're so nice.
yeah, I do know that my baking has improved tremendously since I started actually weighing stuff.
Mhm.
Because if you do it by volume, I don't know, there could be more moisture in it, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. I
Okay.
was having really bad until I actually got a scale and started weighing stuff. But what did you end up saying? 2 sticks plus?
Plus, looks like a tablespoon or so.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna
And
measure
how
out the
melted
butter.
do you want it?
And so I'm tossing this in my stand mixer because I've got one. Okay.
Butter.
I don't know, I always break mine apart a little bit, my butter. And I happen to be using unsalted. It didn't say in the recipe whether it should be unsalted or not. I tend to use unsalted butter though, because I like to add my own salt to the recipe. So this I might just toss a little bit in just for the heck of it.
How soft is your butter? You just said like room temperature.
Yeah, so here, check this out. Can you see that? So it's kind of
Okay.
moving around a little bit.
I don't have a microwave, so I have my butter in the pan just over the pilot light, the stove.
Nice, nice.
So.
You can also just keep rubbing it in your hands for a little bit.
It's like, I don't know, that actually might be really fun.
Exactly. Okay, I got my butter in there.
Almost dropped everything.
And toss this in the garbage. Okay. And what's next? Sugar. And so the sugar that we're putting in is
Brown sugar.
both, yeah, light or dark muscovado sugar, which I just use brown sugar. So 9 ounces of that.
What's the other kind of sugar you said?
Muscovado.
What's that?
That is, isn't it just brown sugar? Fred can look that up for us because it's amazing.
I really don't know. I'm sure. All right. I'm getting.
All right, so again, that's 9 ounces of the brown. Of course, mine's very hard. Oh, there you go.
Let's see how this butter's doing. Mine's still pretty hard. I just bought it about an hour ago, so.
I just had the strongest feeling of deja vu. Oh, how weird.
What? You baked before?
No, the exact thing that I'm doing right now is just
My mom would always say at that point, someone just walked over your grave. She had such weird things. All right, so this steak.
Is your mom Irish?
She's British.
Okay.
Yeah, we're part Irish.
Those island people are so strange.
Yeah, right, totally. And then I got 4 eggs here.
So are you creaming your sugar and your
Yeah, it doesn't say to do that, so I tend to sometimes. So I'm probably just gonna
cream the sugar and the butter.
Yeah, I do that usually just for a little bit.
Oh, my butter's still kind of cold.
Yeah, mine's kind of firmish.
And my standing mixer is on the fritz.
You still haven't got it fixed? In a long time.
I have not. I actually forget about it until I'm needing it.
That's pretty good. That's how we all.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
I'm using dark brown sugar just because.
Yeah, I prefer dark brown sugar. I used a mixture of both because that's what I had. I don't know. Can you guys see my mixer?
And just a little bit of it.
Let's see. I'd have to move this over a bit. Yeah, so I just combed it together.
4 eggs.
Yep, 4 eggs.
It's like,
Doesn't look like there's gonna be room for much flour.
There isn't much flour in there.
this is a fruit cake, not a cake with fruit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I wonder.
And of course, with this recipe, it says like you just throw all this stuff together and then you mix it. Typically, you'd mix it separately and do it like one egg at a time.
Yeah.
But apparently, Mary Berry doesn't give a shit. She just puts them all in.
So let's see. Mix butter, sugar, eggs. Now it says,
And the treacle, which is substitute is black molasses.
yeah, so I've got two versions here. I've got blackstrap molasses, and then the other one is, I don't know, just as molasses.
I would use blackstrap
Yep. It's like,
because it's
What's
got
the
more flavor.
difference? What's the difference between blackstrap and molasses?
The blackstrap has more of the nutrients that I forget what part they take out. It's the,
oh, it's cane. So instead of filtering out everything,
it's the byproduct of sugar, isn't it?
I think so.
Isn't that made by beets? Or is it by sugarcane, right? Because
sugar
we
cane.
make it from beets.
most sugar these days comes from beets. In the old days, it was from cane.
So,
Yeah, so what is this molasses
cane.
about?
It's definitely from cane. But all right.
Maybe Fred would look it up. He's our resident.
But
What
it
do you
just says
call it?
1 tablespoon. So
Yeah,
Wanna look
it's
up blackstrap molasses?
Yeah, versus regular straight molasses.
I don't really measure mine because I don't have a tablespoon. I've got a 2 teaspoon thing. So I like to put a little bit extra in because why not?
it's just a flavor. So if you put
Mhm.
more, it's a stronger flavor.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
They talk about all kinds of health benefits from blackstrap.
Yeah.
And then we need to also chop up our almonds.
Trick and chopping them up, just cutting board and a knife. Oh, I forgot I had brown sugar in this thing I could have used. Oh well. We're just slivering the almonds, right? I don't have to like, put it in a food processor.
No, it just says chopped. So yeah, it's not even slivered. So you can just chop it, rough chop.
I really love almonds.
Yeah, me too.
One of my favorite nuts. Maybe cashews is close.
I'll put almonds in my soups.
Like a whole one, or do you chop them up?
I chop them up. I do it in thirds. And I'll put them in my chili also. In fact, then my friends are like, oh God, did you put almonds in this too? I'm like, yes. What's wrong with that? There, that's fine. I don't mind having bigger chunks.
You put them in raw.
Yep.
There's such a difference though between the taste of a raw almond and a toasted.
There is.
And then also how much they toast them, because you get dark roasted, light roasted.
Mhm.
Someone recently gave me a bag of lightly roasted and then coated with cocoa powder.
Ooh,
And
that sounds fun.
it's not sweetened cocoa powder, it's just a light dusting, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a perfect snack.
Yeah, I just read a thing about putting a little bit of cocoa powder in your coffee.
Oh, really? That would be yummy.
You know, unsweetened, not with unsweetened.
So far I've just got the sugar, the butter, the eggs, and the almonds.
Sugar, butter, eggs, almonds, and the treacle or the
Oh,
molasses.
yeah, I do have that in.
Yep. And it says beat well. Excuse me, beat well. I don't know. Mine looks like it's well beaten. Well beat. Oh, it tastes really good. All right. Now we need to add the flour. How are you doing, Lulu?
I'm gonna run a knife through my slivered almonds, the eggs in. I gotta get the molasses. I'm slower than molasses in the wintertime.
Woo! That's all right. So,
Suzanne, do you know any quaint English sayings?
you know, now that you said that, I can't think of a single one.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
My mother would always say, sit, you know, when you're looking for a chair when the room's crowded, my mother would say, sit on the floor and let your feet hang.
Nice.
How about knock me up in the morning?
Yeah, right? Okay. We're gonna want to add some of 10 ounces of flour and 1.5 teaspoons of mixed spice. So I'm gonna add my mixed spice to the flour.
Now, what is in your mixed spice?
You know what? I've got a store-bought one. This is one that my mom had.
You buy like a pumpkin spice.
No, it's different because I was just at Penzies and asked about their pumpkin spice.
I was told gingerbread spice is better.
That might be closer to it. But mace is in the mixed spice, as well as coriander, which I don't think those two things are in the
No.
pumpkin or gingerbread spice.
Well, and it's interesting, this one, you know, the side of the container says cinnamon, and it's the cassia cinnamon, coriander, caraway, nutmeg, ginger, cloves.
Oh, I'm gonna add fresh caraway seeds to mine because the spice. Okay, molasses.
That's a quarter. That's
Just a little bit.
Could just get my half measure. Goes right in there.
So what's the difference between molasses and sorghum?
That's a great question. I do not know.
As I was back there getting my molasses, I got sorghum.
Lock it up. Where's
And isn't it sorghum molasses is the full name, isn't it?
I don't know. I just blew by it and went straight for mine.
Okay, here's your answer.
Thanks, Fred.
Sorghum is made from sorghum cane, and molasses is made from sugar cane.
Nice.
And
Wow.
sorghum tends to be more flavorful liquid.
Oh, well, I grabbed the wrong one.
That would be interesting to try. I'm going to add a little bit more. So because this is my mom's, it's a little older. I'm going to add another half a teaspoon of
But
it.
you can substitute molasses for sorghum 1-to-1 on a 1-to-1 basis.
And vice versa, probably.
Yeah.
And because I like nutmeg, I'm going to just grate some fresh.
I've become addicted to fresh nutmeg. It's so much better.
I love the smell of it. It's just amazing.
So that wasn't my experience. The fresh nutmeg that we got for whatever and what we were making a couple weeks ago.
Pumpkin cure.
Yeah.
Or no, the bechamel sauce, we used it also.
Bechamel,
The
yeah.
bechamel sauce. It was not, I put like tons extra from what I was grating. I wonder if those particular nuts that I got were just old.
That could be.
All right, so sugar, egg, nuts, sorghum, or molasses, and then what?
10 ounces of flour, I think.
Actually, almond, let's see, butter, sugar, eggs, molasses, almonds.
And then how much spice mix?
That you're gonna add. So, did you first mix that up?
I've got the butter, sugar, almond, and molasses together. The spice
Okay.
mix is completely mixed. I mixed that up earlier.
What'd you
So
put
you
in
go-
your spice mix? You made fresh?
Well, as fresh as my ground spices were mixed. It was cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, allspice, coriander, clove, mace, and I can't
That's a
remember.
good mix.
That sounds really good.
So how much of it? A tablespoon and a half?
No, 1.5 teaspoons.
Oh, there's a difference.
So, and I mixed the mixed spice in with the flour
Okay, I can do that.
because I think it mixes it a little more thoroughly and evenly, I should say.
Oh, I put the spice in with the sugar mix.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one. That's a good.
I don't think
They both work. So,
Oh,
And
and
then-
I did see a recipe in yours that your mother changed. She did end up putting some baking powder.
yeah, she did, and I don't know why.
Well, the
So-
other recipes for Christmas cake had a little bit of baking powder too.
So if
What
you
was-
want,
What
You
was
know, if you-
yours?
oh, what was the amount?
Yeah, it's at the end of your notes. I just don't have it in front of me.
That's all right. Let's see.
If I remember right, it was just like a half a teaspoon. It was just a little.
Yes, yep, a half a teaspoon. So I don't think there's anything wrong with adding a half a teaspoon of, make sure, how about this? I'm gonna make,
It said your mom's recipe, she added 1 ounce chopped angelica, 2 ounce mixed peel, and a half teaspoon baking powder.
yep, a half teaspoon of baking powder. I had to make sure that it was the same, that I didn't accidentally write it wrong. So yep, baking powder. Ooh, mine's a little on the empty
Ooh,
side.
I've managed to not open the brandied raisins and dried fruits yet.
I'm so proud of you, Laura.
I mean, like 2 days, like 3 days, just sitting there going, oh,
Did you, so you didn't stir them? You were supposed to stir them once a day.
oh no, I didn't. I think
It was
I knew
probably
if I
just-
opened them up, I would be like.
It was
tasting.
probably just as well.
So then you'll mix it together. And you don't want to over mix it, so you don't want to beat the daylights out of it.
So you're talking about adding the flour now?
Yeah, yep. And then you're going to stir in the the lots of fruit.
My mixer was running. You said stir in
Then stir in the fruit.
okay, but I should mix the flour well first.
Yeah, but not, you don't want to over mix that part. You might wind up stirring it by hand. I'm looking at how deep this is. That might be okay.
Oops. It's really thick. It's just like, I forget, I used to make molasses, like gingerbread.
Mhm.
This seems very similar. To gingerbread. We always made gingerbread with molasses, so maybe that's why I'm thinking it's similar.
I have a great recipe for ginger snap cookies that you put powdered ginger, fresh ginger, and crystallized candy ginger in, and it is the best ginger snap cookies I've ever tasted.
All right.
That sounds amazing. Guess what you're going to teach?
I love ginger.
Yep, me too. All forms.
All right, add the fruit.
Mhm.
Talk about more fruit then. And so this fruit, how many days did you soak yours in, Brandy?
I started it either Thursday or Friday, or no, Thursday or Wednesday.
So that's what?
We did ours, what, Thursday?
Yeah,
From Wednesday.
Thursday evening.
So I have a confession. Mine has a half a cup of brandy plus 2 more ounces. So 3/4 cup of brandy.
I kept tossing in a little more and a little more.
I know.
Yeah,
Well, another
it wasn't enough.
recipe I saw, they soaked their fruit in a cup and a half. And I was like, okay, so I think this is looking a little dry to me.
Yeah. I kept adding.
I
Okay.
mean, we add more to it later anyway,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's once a week, you're supposed to add a little bit to it.
I added more than that. I'll just go up to it and go, oh, look, you need a little bit more.
It was like, oh, today you look like you need a drink.
Mhm.
Oh, no.
My mom used to just like add a minimal. She had a certain set that she would add to it. And
Maybe that's why she
was weird.
was the one with, just for a half a cup for.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was it. That's what I had in her recipe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I can take this little guy off.
But some people don't like the flavor of alcohol, which, that's understandable.
Mm-hmm. And some people can't, I mean, if you could make this without the booze in it,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't make it way ahead of time, because it's all about adding the booze to it that kind of kills the stuff. That's my understanding. I could be totally wrong.
That and the sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. It's like almost all fruit.
God, tastes so good. Have you tried the batter yet?
I know. I'm trying to get every last bit of what's left in the bowl is the orange rind. And it's like, no, I don't want to lose any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to, every time I stirred it, I had to scrape the bowl because all the orange rind was sticking to my spoon.
Oh, yep. All right, can you still see my stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, I'm getting excited. I have been thinking about this recipe for over a week.
Oh, yay.
With
And what's
nervousness
really
or
nice?
excitement?
You know what I find really kind of cool? I hate to say this. but so many people don't like this style of cake, and I'm just, all I can think of is more for me.
Mhm, mhm.
I don't
Why do
make
you think people
anybody,
make so much fun of fruitcake?
it's the kind of thing that people pass along gifts, you know, if they get it. If anybody ever gives me fruitcake, it stops at my house. It's like, no, I'm not regifting this.
I don't think I've ever had it that I didn't like. Well, that's not true. I don't tend to really like the maraschino cherries, and some fruitcake they like put way too much.
Mm.
You don't have to worry about this one with that. Though there is, in place of the lack of the candied cherries, there is tart cherries that
I love actual cherries, but it's that artificial cherry
Mhm.
flavor that I don't really like.
Yeah, I added some of the dried sweet tart cherries to it.
those things are big.
Yeah.
All right, let me taste a little piece. Oh my God.
It's like a meal. All right, Fred, here's a research. What did they used to keep in Navy ships when they would rescue people? Was it Christmas cake? I
When
think
they
it was.
rescued people.
You know, like the first food because they were starving and they
Yep.
it shipped well and was
It stayed well. Oh, it looks so good. Mhm. Okay.
yeah, I'm still finding pockets of fruit without dough.
Mhm. I think mine's fairly well mixed.
Those little currants like to hang out together.
Oh, I love the currants. They're so yummy.
I've never cooked with currants before.
Mm.
I've had recipes before that called for it, and I just put raisins. Oh, I got a great recipe for a thing called brown bread. Oh, that's really good.
Mm. I would love to make that.
Start saving your I guess they're 16-ounce cans because that's what you're supposed to put them in. And then you pop them out and they got the lines from the can. It's kind of cool looking.
Okay, so I'm putting mine into the pan now.
Now, question, how full? Because I went ahead and did 2 pans because my one pan was only 8 inches. That seemed too little. Is this going to rise much?
I do not remember. I know it's really bad for a cook to not know, but I don't remember because mine's going to come right up to the top. Here it says, let's see, spoon into the prepared cake tin and level the surface. That's it. It's going to weigh a ton also. I should have written this stuff down because we used to weigh it and see how big it is every year.
The actual cake at the end.
Yeah, because once you get the marzipan on the outside and then the royal icing, it's a dense cake. It's like over 3 pounds. It's almost a 5-pound cake. Yeah, mine's gonna come right to the top.
I just want to sit here spoonful after spoonful of it.
Yeah.
But so far, I've only tasted it twice.
Mm-hmm. It's so good.
All right, but you said this is gonna bake for like 4 hours.
Yeah, it says, the recipe says bake in the center of a preheated oven for about 4 to 4.5 hours, or until the cake feels firm to the touch and is rich golden brown. It says check after 2 hours. If the cake is a perfect color, then cover it with foil. And it'll be finished when a skewer in the center comes out clean. So I would, set an alarm or a timer for 2 hours. And then start checking it every so often.
Oops, I got a little on my finger.
Oh, darn. That is so sad.
I I gotta read through this one more time to make sure I have everything. I think I'm good.
And then I just realized I told a friend that I would help them finish up their French drain today. I'm like, yeah, I can come right after the cooking show. I'm like, what was I thinking? I'm going to be watching this. I can't let this go. So then it says level it out. So I'm leveling. Oh, it's so pretty.
I'm having a lot of fun cleaning out the bowl.
Oh, I know. Isn't that great? That's the best thing.
I was just like,
So
I can say this is probably one of the least dirty baking things I've done. Usually I get
So while I'm here and I've got it ready to go in the oven, I'm just going to do a quick weigh of it. 6 pounds, 3 ounces. Oh, it's a big baby. All right, I'm tossing mine in the oven. Godspeed, little cake. Oh, timer. Okay, I just set mine for 2 hours.
I should have saved some of that brandied fruit for oatmeal for breakfast. Just a little bit.
Maybe you want to make a room pot, then you always have something.
Are you volunteering to teach? I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I don't know either. What is it?
You know what a room pot is.
Are
No,
you just talking about like spiced rum?
no, you
Oh.
have a bowl, a container where you continues to feed it with seasonal fruits and rum. And then the rum soaks it all up and you have it like your cake, what you're doing there.
So you just have a pot full of like dried fruit that you just keep adding rum to?
Yeah, dried food, or you start with fresh food usually.
Oh,
And
okay.
then, you know,
I've
whatever you
never
want
done
to
that.
do in that. And that's that, you know, alcohol preserves it. You know, you have rum and the fruit juices and I put in mine now candied ginger, what gave a totally different flavor, what I did not like. So,
Okay.
but I had a lot of different type of, I like it with prunes, raisins, cherries, usually like cherry jubilee is done out of a rum pot.
Huh.
But you
Cool.
use it.
I mean,
over ice-
I've been to a party where we called it a trash can party, where they had a small like bathroom trash can, brand new. You wash it, disinfect it, and then everybody's required to bring some fruit, cut up fruit and alcohol, and just put it all in the trash can. And then everybody gets really, 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 really drunk because it's
What
such a
alcohol do you
mixture.
use?
Well, that's
what
the thing is everybody brings something different. So
No,
that's where it's dangerous.
Yeah, no, you need to use
It was
one kind of.
it was like the, you know, I don't know, the poor man's fruit punch.
Well, usually you do it with wine, you know, and then put selters water with different fruits, and then you
Okay.
let it sit, you know, like the wine punch, it's overnight with the fruit in wine, and then you add the rest. Sorry.
Oh, that's
Like a thing, like a sangria.
Kind of.
Oh my God, that's delicious.
It's
All
so
right.
good.
Is it
All
okay
right.
if my paper sticks up over the top?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it'll just push it out of the way, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I gotta take a picture. Oh, I should weigh mine too, but I don't know how, I could weigh the tin afterwards.
Yeah. It'll be the same. Well, I don't know.
Where's
So
my
what if it's-
scale?
So what was it, 6 pounds, 3 ounces? 6 lbs, 3 LD.
All right. Now,
Oh
so
my
what
God.
happens next though? So the cake gets baked, and then you
Mhm.
said you feed it some brandy a couple times a week.
Yeah, so what you'll do is once it's baked, leave it to totally cool in the tin. So don't remove it, just leave it in the tin, let it cool. Then when it's totally cool, you're going to pierce it with a skewer, you know, kind of go all the way down in multiple places. And then you'll start feeding with brandy. Then you'll wrap it in a double layer of parchment.
Typically, how
And-
much brandy do you give it?
I don't know. I just do it
No, I
whatever.
would just imagine a couple of tablespoons over. I wouldn't like go, because then it'll get soggier and real
Yeah,
mush.
yeah, you just want a little bit here and there. So
So
I'll
the
probably give
idea
you-
is to feed it,
Mhm.
so eventually you gave it a lot, but not make it soggy.
Right, because some of it's going to evaporate over time. And let's see, yeah, then you're going to wrap it in a double layer of parchment paper and aluminum foil. I might just put mine in a, you know, like a cake tin.
I have like a plastic bin where you put a cake in it to transport it.
Yeah, but I don't think, I'm not going to seal it closed. I'll keep it, you know, open just a little bit because you kind of want a little bit of that airflow to keep away. You don't want it in that moist atmosphere for the whole time.
Okay.
Let's see. Ta-da. Yeah, and it says you do this for up to 3 months if you want. Feeding at intervals with more brandy. Doesn't say how much. Don't remove the lining paper. So the parchment paper, the stuff that's going to be that's in the container, you just kind of leave that on. And then, yeah, and then, like my mom she used to use a medical syringe to soak hers. She had a certain amount that she did, and I don't think she has it written down anywhere. She told me once, and I figured, oh, no problem, I don't need to write this down. And now she's dead, so I can't tell. I'll have to do a seance or something to find out. I know it's kind of sad. Let's see.
You know, now that I think about it, a lot of people probably, that would be the question they'd ask their loved ones is, when you made that, what was it?
Right?
What was in that certain recipe?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When my
So-
mother and I were apart, you know, the first year I moved to St. Louis, the first thing I sat her down in the kitchen, I said, tell me, you know, your lasagna and your pork and I mean, I had a list of, you know, chicken a la king, all of my favorite dishes that she made. I just,
Right. That was a good plan.
yeah.
So, and then what we'll do is a week before you want to serve it, that's when you're going to take, so let's see. You'll stop feeding it a week before you're going to make it, or before you're going to eat it. Let's see.
And that's when you make the marzipan.
Yeah, so what's happening is for the covering part is going to be a week before you eat it. You're going to take a layer of, you're going to cover the cake with a layer of apricot preserves or apricot jam. You'll warm it and then you kind of spoon it all over. And then you'll take and make some marzipan. You can either buy it or make it. I think it's fun to make it.
You've made it before.
I have made it before and it's not bad. The challenging part is just rolling it out, you know, and trying to get an even thickness. You'll roll it.
The
roll it out.
challenging, that'll be the challenging part, whether we buy it or make it ourselves, right?
Yeah, yep, exactly. And yeah, and then you'll slap that on top of it and you know, make sure it covers everything. And then you'll make royal icing and put that on top of it. And then with the royal icing, what you can do with it is make it so that it's got little peaks so it looks like snow. You know, like you know, just like cute little snow thing. And then in a day that will be solid as a rock. In fact, it sometimes takes a lot of effort to actually take the knife and shove it in there to cut a piece, because that royal icing just turns rock solid. It's pretty impressive. If
And
you
you
have,
just a thin layer of that?
yeah, yep. I use the whole recipe, whatever the recipe says is what I use. And then my mom has these little figurines, these little Christmassy figurines that she actually, when you're right when you're finished making your little designs or pattern on the, you know, with the royal icing, then you put the figurines in it and then they solidify in it. It's kind of fun.
Oh.
Yeah. And so she would store her, what is it called? She would store her cake that she's feeding in an old round biscuit tin, you know, like an old either
The metal ones.
yep, the metal ones, the old cookie ones that you get, like the royal.
That's what people used to use before plastic.
Yeah. So I know with that, you know, it doesn't seal it all the way. So you want to make sure that it's not completely airtight. So
The Navy story you were maybe referring to was, there was a story of a woman made a Christmas cake for her sailor husband who was in a submarine, and unfortunately it was sunk. He never returned. And she had this cake for many years, and it was made in the 40s, and she donated it to the British Naval Museum in the 80s.
interesting. Well, because I was told that every Navy vessel has Christmas cake on it or something like that in case they need to rescue people. I don't know. It could be rubbish. So
And I couldn't find anything. I didn't search that long, but I couldn't find any.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could relate to.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
All right. Does anybody have any final questions for Suzanne or?
Oh my gosh, we went
Suzanne,
over, didn't we?
What's that?
We went over on time.
Oh, well, we're making a cake that takes 2 months.
Thank you. This has been most fun.
Mhm.
And I still have a mess to clean.
Oh my gosh, my kitchen is a disaster.
But this is usually I get flour everywhere, and this was the least messy cake I've ever made. So
Oh,
thank you
nice.
so much. All right. Any final words?
I don't think so. We
Merry
just need to figure out.
Christmas!
Yeah, we have to come back and see, you know, and make the next step together.
Yeah, you have to pick a date to do the next steps,
Mm-hmm.
and pick a date to slice it.
That
Well,
would be fun.
technically the show falls on Christmas, so I don't know if we want to have a Christmas party, but anyway, let me
Yeah.
stop the recording here and 1 second.